Folktale from Karnataka. The Lord's Reaction. Madhav was a poor man. He was so poor that he never thought of marrying and raising a family. He did not have a regular job, but he was willing to do any job that people gave him, and they sought his help because he was satisfied and happy with whatever they gave him in cash or in kind. He would never demand what or how much he should get for the job given to him. Those who engaged him never found another person like Madhav to do their bidding. So, he was never without work, and he took pleasure in doing whatever work he was entrusted with. Sometimes it was only running an errand, or it could be cutting firewood, or drawing water, or washing clothes, or bathing cattle in the nearby river, or any other odd job. He never found any idle time, and he saw to it that he had something or else to do till evening that would keep him busy all through the day. Before he went home, he would go for a bath in the river and visit the temple and pray for some time. This became his daily routine. One day, he stood before the idol, eyes closed, chanting the only mantra he knew. But when he opened his eyes, he thought the Lord was looking at him with pitiful eyes. Was the Lord tired? The sanctum sanctorum was full of smoke from the incense that was burned by the worshippers. Was the smoke singing the Lord's eyes? Were the garlands that adorned the Lord with weighing his neck down? Lord, you look very tired, said Madhav. He still had his hands folded. Please come home with me. I shall cook some dinner for you, added the simpleton that Madhav was. He opened his palms and continued looking at the idol. Was the Lord now smiling at him? Madhav wondered. As he thought, he saw the Lord's lips moving. Go home, Madhav, cook the meal, and then come back for me, said the Lord. Madhav looked around. There were other worshippers, but the Lord had spoken only to him. His eyes were open, and Madhav saw the idol still smiling. He left the temple and hurried home. He went into the kitchen, collected some grain, dal, and vegetables, and started cooking a frugal meal for the Lord and for himself. When the food was ready, he closed the door and started for the temple. He had hardly gone a few yards when he was accosted by an old man who was finding it difficult to walk any further and was resting on his stick. He said, I have been starving the whole day. Will you please give me some food? Madhav took pity on him. "Come with me," he said, as he led him home. The old man sat down. He ate heartily, but very little. He appeared satisfied. "Thank you. You're very kind. God will be with you always," said the old man as he picked up his stout stick and walked away. Madhav again closed the door, and hardly had he walked a few yards when who stopped him on his way but an old woman. She was looking sad, lonely, and hungry. He wondered whether he could make her happy by at least giving her some food. He took her home and fed her. After she ate and washed her hands, he saw in her eyes a contented look, and she was no longer sad. "May God bless you, my son. I shall never forget this day." Madhav saw the old woman go away as he closed his door and started walking towards the temple. As he hurried in his steps, he thought somebody had tugged at his shawl. It was an ill-clad boy who was pointing at his empty stomach with a pleading look. Madhav understood that he was also asking for food. He did not think for a moment, but caught hold of his hands and led him to his house and offered food. As he ate, the boy told him he was an orphan and driven to begging. Madhav took pity on him. "Come again tomorrow evening, and I shall give you food," he told the boy as he closed the door for the third time and turned towards the temple. He stood before the idol with folded hands and said apologetically, "O Lord, please forgive me. I am late in coming back to take you home." "But you have already fed me, Madhav," said the Lord. "But when, my Lord?" queried Madhav in a puzzled tone. "Didn't you feed an old man, an old woman, and an orphan?" "You are really feeding me, and I am very happy," said the Lord. "But you had promised to come home with me," Madhav reminded the Lord. "All right, I shall come. Proceed, and I shall follow you," said the Lord. When he reached home, Madhav opened the door, and only then did he turn back. The Lord stood resplendent. "Please sit down, my Lord. I am so glad you came to my house. Let me at least give you a fruit." The Lord ate the fruit and then got up to go. Madhav prostrated before him. When he was up on his feet, he could not see the Lord whom he wanted to accompany up to the temple. Anyway, Madhav was a very happy man that evening. The news that the Lord had visited the poor Madhav's home reached the rich landlord's ears. Hadn't he contributed a lot of money for the renovation of the temple? Still, the Lord never favored him with a visit. He went to the temple and stood before the idol with folded hands. "O Lord, when will you visit my home?" he asked. It was not as much as a plea, but it had even a touch of admonition. The landlord heard the Lord's voice. "All right, Go home and cook a meal, and then come back to fetch me." The landlord smiled and returned home. He called his servants and asked them to cook a sumptuous meal. When they announced that the meal was ready, he hurried to the temple. On his way, he was accosted by an old man saying he was hungry. "I have no time to look after you, you scum. Why don't you go and find a job? You're quite able-bodied," said the landlord angrily and moved on. He had not taken half a dozen steps when he heard a woman's voice. "Oh, master, I have been wandering alone since morning, and I haven't eaten a morsel, and I'm too hungry to take another step," pleaded the old woman. The landlord could not check his anger. "I never realized this village has so many riffraffs," he almost shouted at the woman. "Go away, I have no time for you now." He then walked away without turning back. He did not expect that he would be halted again. Now it was an urchin trying to tell him how hungry he was and how he would fall down if he did not get any food. The landlord merely pushed him out of his way and increased the pace of his steps. He was breathless by the time he reached the temple. Once again, he stood before the idol and said, "O Lord, see, I have come to take you. A sumptuous meal is ready for you, my lord. But I have already been to you, though you had no time to care for me. First, you called me a scum. Then you described me as a riffraff. And I was really shocked when you pushed me out of your way. Every time I came to you, you were harsh to me. Why, then, should I spend any time for you?" said the Lord. The rich landlord looked at the idol, and he now saw only a figure carved in hearthstone.
Dhanyavad. Thank you. If you like this video, do like, subscribe and share. See you in the next one. Bye bye.